ever since my brother came out a few weeks ago and went to this famous pastrami sandwich shop, I have been craving a pastrami sandwich. So lo and behold, in the Trim Healthy Mama cookbook, I was able to find a recipe for a Ruben in a bowl. So I was so excited. I did have my grandkids today all day, so I knew that this was going to be something that was going to take a lot longer if I didn't kind of alter the recipe. So let me just show you the little trick that I did that saved me a lot of extra time. So in the recipe book, it says to take, now I cut the ingredients in half because I just don't, they make very big recipes in this book. So they said to take some cabbage, shred it up, mix some sauerkraut with it, and cook it up in a pan till it all cooks down in a couple of tablespoons of butter. Well, I skipped that step. I went ahead and did the same thing, but I threw it in a crock pot. I put it on high the whole time the grandkids were here, and it's perfect. So now I'm going to move it into the bowl and let me show you how it looks. This was such a good idea and a good time saver. So this is what I did. So this is my cabbage mixture right here. I'm going to move this pan over a little. And all I'm going to do now that everything's cooked down, look at that. It was filled all the way to the top. It's literally cooked halfway down. Now, I'm not going to put all the liquid in there. I'm going to put this in some butter, just like they said to do. And I'm going to just get this in here and kind of heat it up a little bit. And I'll show you the next step. I don't think there's much that tastes better in the world than sauerkraut and cabbage. I just really don't. I grew up on it. I love it. I love cabbage in most things, honestly, but boy, do I ever love sauerkraut and cabbage. My grandma used to make a soup out of sauerkraut and cabbage, and oh, was it ever good. Now, the sauerkraut that I'm using is actually homemade sauerkraut, and I make it every year around St. Patrick's Day. Now, if I grow my cabbage and I have a glut of it, then I make it from my own homegrown cabbage. But honestly, it comes out great. It's so inexpensive at St. Patrick's Day that that's just something I've done for a long time. So I picked up some pastrami. It's already cooked. This was the easiest thing to buy. And I'm actually going to use all of this pastrami. This is a pound of pastrami. They said to use 2 pounds of pastrami if you were making this for a full recipe, so I'm only going to use this. I'm going to put my pastrami in here. All I really want to do is just heat this pastrami up. Oh, I love pastrami. I just love it. We're going to put all this in here. Just like this. It's kind of a, this is kind of a shaved pastrami. I think if you're getting it really at the deli, I would just ask them to kind of, you know, shave it as thin as they can, just so you can kind of pull it apart and put it in the bowl nice and light. Got a couple pieces of fat here. I'm gonna take these off and give them to my pup. And there you go. We're just gonna heat that pastrami up with the sauerkraut and the cabbage. So this full recipe in the cookbook said it feeds 8. So I'm assuming since I cut this in half, this is gonna be about 4 servings, which is a lot. This is a lot of food. And you're gonna blend up these flavors for about 10 minutes. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add some Swiss cheese. So I found this sliced Swiss cheese, but they actually didn't have any shredded cheese at all, you know, in the Swiss. So I'm just gonna cut this up. It says to use about half of it right now. So I'm gonna take some slices, maybe 3 or 4. And all I'm gonna do is just cut those into little pieces with my kitchen scissors. This works really well. You don't want to take the time to shred it. This is something really easy. It works good. And we're going to give this a little stir, just to get that cheese melted into it. So as soon as this cheese starts to melt, we're going to put more of it over the top, and we're going to let that melt as well. And this Swiss cheese, it melts really quick. So I'm going to take a couple more slices, and I'm just going to put this right over the top and just keep moving it around. So this is completely cooked, and all I'm going to do at this point, I'm actually going to turn the stove off, and I'm going to put a lid on it just so that my cheese will melt. So while that melts up, we're going to go ahead and make our dressing for our Ruben. So we're going to take a half a cup plus 2 tablespoons of mayonnaise. And then we're going to take some sugar-free ketchup. Now it calls for a few dashes of hot sauce. I'm actually going to put some of this hot mustard in from Panda. I just love the flavor of it. So we'll put a little bit of that in there. And then I'm going to put a little bit of mild sauce from Del Taco. I saved these little containers. They work out great. And then you want to take a little bit of dill relish. I'm going to use, it says 6 tablespoons. I'm not going to use that much. I'll probably use 3. And then it says to use a couple of teaspoons of some simple sweetener. Oh, that is perfect. That is really delicious. So I am going to take my serving of this. This is going to be a 1/4. And I'm going to serve this up. It's actually a lot, and I think that's because of the cabbage. And then I'm just going to serve a little bit of this dressing over the top of it. Right over the top of my bowl. And there you go. It's Ruben in a bowl. So let's give our Ruben in a bowl a try. It tastes is half as good as it smells. We're in for a treat. Oh. Oh man, that is so good. That is so good. If you like pastrami, you know, that whole flavor of a pastrami sandwich without all the calories, this is considered an S meal on Trim Healthy Mama. It is delicious. I'm serving it with some sugar-free lemonade. I'm gonna have this for my dinner. It is so good. I'm so excited to have this, and I'll have leftovers. So couldn't ask for more. So thanks for joining me. If you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing to my channel. Join my weight loss challenge. We're all losing weight between now and the end of June 2025. And I've got not too much further to go. This diet is going really well on Trim Healthy Mama. So if you're not a subscriber, hit the subscribe button, give me a like or a thumbs up, and ring the bell for future notifications, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.